And I'm grateful to the Agua Caliente Tribal Council and the entire Agua Caliente Band for hosting us, and also for welcoming me and my colleagues. Many thanks as well. Actually, let me back up, because I don't want to leave out important people here. I also want to back up and acknowledge this morning's opening ceremony. I'd like to express special acknowledgement to the Women's Color Guard and our veterans for their service. As well, I'd like to thank Jim Claremont for his heartfelt and beautiful prayer, and the boys for their flag song. In advance, I offer many thanks to my fellow speakers and presenters you'll hear throughout this week for their words and for their wisdom. I am both humbled and proud to be a part of this gathering. I bring greetings from the Attorney General, Loretta Lynch, the Office of the Associate Attorney General, my boss, Bill Baer, sits there, and Assistant Attorney General Carol Mason, who, as Joy said, was unable to be here but truly wanted to be, and others in the Department of Justice who have asked me to convey their deepest appreciation for the work each of you is doing to support victims in Indian country. It is truly an honor, truly, to appear before this impressive assembly of tribal and federal leaders, criminal justice and victim service professionals, researchers, policymakers, victims, and especially survivors, I should say, especially victims and survivors who share their stories, and they teach us what our work is about and give us motivation to do what we need to do to provide services. To see so many dedicated people representing so many different lines of work, backgrounds, and experiences is both gratifying and encouraging. It is clear to me that you have found common cause in your resolve to help victims, and that the spirit of cooperation and partnership among us is stronger than ever. Let us all acknowledge, as Joy said previously, the leaders and staff of OVC for bringing us together once again for the excellent work that they have done and their partners have also done in organizing this event, and most especially for their long history and supportive, innovative tribal victims assistance programs. They have created some wonderful resources, and through Victim 21 initiative, they are working harder than ever to support tribal nations. So while Joy has talked a little bit already about several amazing OVC efforts, I wanted to talk about a couple of others. First, OVC, in collaboration with the Office on Violence Against Women, or OVW, has developed a compelling video series. It's designed to educate victim service providers, criminal justice professionals, and others who work on issues related to domestic violence, sexual assault, and human trafficking experienced by Alaska Natives. The 4 videos give an overview of alcohol-facilitated sexual assault in Indian country, covering the various types of support for victims, including confidential advocacy, forensic medical exams, legal services, and they also present case studies about these assaults on the reservations of the Winnebago Tribe of Nebraska and Navajo Nation. OVC has also identified a need in the victims assistance community to increase coordination in responding to children and youth. In their Linking Systems of Care project, they bring together the healthcare, child welfare, justice systems to ensure a timely and seamless response to young victims, their families, and caregivers. And no matter which system was the first to provide services to the child. To launch this project, OVC competitively selected 2 states, Montana and Virginia, to bring together systems and professionals to provide early identification, intervention, and treatment to child and youth victims and their families and caregivers. OVC will make the practices and policies developed in these states available for replication in other communities. Joy and her team are part of a Justice Department-wide response to victims in Indian country. Indeed, across the department, we are working to identify strategies that maximize tribal autonomy and improve public safety and victim services to Native communities. For example, we have made tremendous progress in untangling the complicated jurisdictional issues that govern criminal investigation and prosecution in Indian country. As you all well know, because of a 1978 Supreme Court decision, tribes have not had the legal ability or authority to prosecute crimes committed by non-Indians on Indian land. This means that if a tribal member is a victim of violence and the suspect is white or another race, that victim's case had to be accepted by a federal court or state authorities in order to be tried. The implications of this have been enormous. According to a recent study by the NIJ, or the National Institute of Justice, which is part of the Department of Justice, American Indian and Alaska Native women and children who have been victims of crime, and astonishingly, that's almost 80% of Indian adults, have been victimized by a non-Indian perpetrator. Yet for almost 4 decades, their cases could not be heard in tribal court. Then, as you know, in 2013, President Obama signed the Violence Against Women Reauthorization Act, which recognized the authority of tribes to prosecute domestic violence offenses committed by non-Indians. The law also created a pilot project and allowed 3 tribal nations to begin exercising special domestic violence jurisdiction. In 2014, the Paskeaki Court hosted the first jury trial of a non-Indian defendant in a tribally operated system for almost 40 years. The provisions of this law now apply throughout Indian country. This is a big step forward for tribal determination and is another one of the ways the Department of Justice is helping to give tribes the tools they need to ensure justice in their communities. I'm also proud of the role the department has played in supporting Native women and servicing American Indian victims. I'm equally proud of the work we have done to expand tribes' access to resources. One of the biggest accomplishments and one of the signature achievements of the Obama administration is what you heard Joy mention earlier, the Coordinated Tribal Assistance Solicitation, or what we call CTAS. CTAS was created in 2009 in direct response to concerns raised by tribal leaders who told us that our grant-making process was cumbersome and did not provide the flexibility they needed to address criminal justice and public safety needs. We heard that, and now, through CTAS, federally recognized tribes and tribal consortia are able to submit a single application to most of DOJ's tribal grant programs. But more than just a streamlined grant process, CTAS is also part of the department's strategy on increased engagements with tribal communities across a broad range of issues. CTAS encourages tribal nations to take a comprehensive look at public safety challenges they face in their communities, and work with the department to find ways to address them. Since CTAS began, the department has awarded over 1,600 grants, totaling $722 million, to hundreds of American Indian and Alaska Native tribes. Tribes have used these funds to enhance law enforcement, to bolster justice systems, to prevent and control delinquency, strengthen the juvenile justice system, serve sexual assault and elder victims, and support other efforts to combat crime. Likewise, in 2016, the Department of Justice awarded more than $102 million to 131 American Indian tribes, Alaska Native villages, tribal consortia, and their designees. This is nearly a $4 million increase over the total CTAS grants which were awarded in 2015. And the Office of Violence Against Women provided an additional 7 awards totaling more than $2 million to help tribes develop plans to implement changes to their criminal justice system to exercise jurisdiction over domestic violence crimes as outlined in the VAWA Act of 2013 that I mentioned earlier. And we're already thinking about CTAS 2017, so I'm going to put in a plug here. The CTAS application is already open, and it closes February 28th, and so we encourage tribes and tribal consortia to begin the detailed application process as early as possible. This will allow you time to write and to revise the application and to avoid technical difficulties that often arise in submitting applications. You'll need to submit the grant application through the grant management system, but you'll find resources to guide the application writing and submission process online. Likewise, we are also hosting a workshop in Columbia, South Carolina, January 17th through 18th, to give previous and new CTAS applicants tools and guidance they need for strategic planning, program design, writing a proposal, and finding the right DOJ resources to serve your communities. And once you receive your grant, the department offers annual orientation for new grantees and provides detailed and continuous training and technical assistance to help you implement and enhance your justice system's efforts. In fact, yesterday we had a CTAS orientation that the Office of Justice Programs, the COPS Office, and OJP put on to, I said Office of Justice Programs, and OVW did collectively, and they did an excellent job in helping new grantees and also existing grantees get prepared for managing the grants that they received. And so we urge you to please take advantage of what we're offering and to get started on your proposals now. Now I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about the Justice Department's advances in aid for tribal law enforcement agencies. At our last conference, one of the main topics was the concern that many of you expressed about tribes' lack of access to the national databases commonly used by non-native law enforcement. So in August 2015, the department launched the Tribal Access Program for National Crime Information, TAPS as we call it. It allows tribes to most effectively serve and protect their citizens by ensuring the exchange of critical data across criminal justice information services systems and other national crime information systems, such as the National Instant Criminal Background Check System, the Law Enforcement Enterprise Portal, and the International Justice and Public Safety Network, and many others. Through TAP, DOJ assumes responsibility for facilitating network access to these systems for federally recognized tribes. We provide personnel, information technology, and physical security, as well as vetting, testing, training, and auditing to extend the model used by federal agencies to tribes. We also provide integrated workshops and workstation technology that feature a computer, palm, and fingerprint scanner, camera, and printers to provide data entry and access to national crime information systems. TAP enables police and correction officers to process criminal bookings. It helps police use databases to find missing persons, stolen property, recovered guns, and registered sex offenders. It allows prosecutors to enter dispositions for criminal charges to keep prohibited individuals from purchasing firearms off reservation. And it enables pretrial service professionals to obtain complete criminal histories to make release recommendations. These and other actions are now possible thanks to this important new program. And now, civil courts can enter orders of protection for on and off reservation enforcement and support those court decisions through criminal history background checks. In fact, we have a quote from I'm going to say this right, Pasquiaki, thank you, Attorney General Alfred Urbana, this last summer. He said, before TAPS, it was almost as if our orders of protection were written in invisible ink. Now, TAP, in operation in 9 tribal communities and more than 60 tribal agencies, are providing criminal and civil data to national crime information systems and accessing national crime records. Already, we have been able to locate a suspect in the kidnapping of a vulnerable adult and recover the victim using investigative reports from other jurisdictions. They prevented a person convicted of domestic violence from purchasing a firearm after police identified an imminent threat to his former spouse. They stopped a firearm purchase by a known drug user who was found mentally incompetent and to stand trial. And they are now able to enter orders of protection so that the victims no longer have to personally take the order to the county sheriff for entry. All of these initiatives are part of a demonstrated commitment on the part of the Department of Justice to improve public safety in Indian country. And I can't overstate our role as allies in this endeavor. As the Attorney General has said, we are partners, not patrons. We are fully aware that the solutions in reducing crime and supporting victims will not come from the federal government, but from those of you who are facing these challenges in your communities every day. At the same time, we believe that we have a role, and a critical one at that, and responsibility to support you in your work. We know that while you don't need us telling you how to handle your public safety challenges or how to serve your victims, you do have a right to expect us to fulfill our legal and moral obligation to ensure that justice is served in your communities. And this Department of Justice takes those obligations seriously. We are proud to be your partners and to call you friends. Thank you for your outstanding work, and thank you for all that you do every day to keep your communities safe.